Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So there's a bunch of Batman vs Superman stuff that's been going on, mostly Emily Blunt supposedly becoming the new Catwoman, as well as LexCorp and, head shaving talk and Justice League. So I'll be doing a breakdown of all that, but if you're finding me for the first time, I'm just doing more big movie videos this summer. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. I try to split the week between Marvel, Star Wars, DC, but feel free to leave me suggestions for other big movies you want me to do. So Emily Blunt is literally killing it right now in Edge of Tomorrow, and she's been rumored for a lot of big superhero roles over the years, so we should totally not be surprised that she's being considered for the new Batman vs Superman movie. She's had a long history of almost being big characters like Black Widow and Christopher Nolan's version of the Catwoman, but here's some details on that and where the character would fit into the movie. So here is what's actually happening right now. She is meeting with Warner Brothers about the movie. If she did join up, she'd have to sign up for the entire franchise because obviously the character would be featured in Justice League and any future sequels. She hasn't been cast yet officially, she's just the biggest person they're talking to right now. And quick side note, she has met with Marvel about a mystery project too, rumored to be Miss Marvel. She's one of those A-list actresses that fits really well into these big movies, so anytime one comes along, she gets considered for a role. There's actually two parts to this Catwoman news. First, it was originally supposed to be a small part that was a romantic interest for Ben Affleck's Batman, but because they chose to upgrade the movie to a Justice League prequel and started teasing all these other big characters, everyone's thinking that they've changed that small character into a much larger part, thus Catwoman. So like I said, she was originally up for the part of Christopher Nolan's Catwoman, but lost out to Anne Hathaway, not because she's a bad actress, just because Christopher Nolan felt like Anne Hathaway served his version of Catwoman better. So whenever they shook everything up at Warner Brothers and combined the Batman and Superman movie universes, Emily Blunt got kicked back into the system. Movies add big characters like this all the time and cut them out at the last minute. It actually happened to Shailene Woodley in Spider-Man 2. She was originally playing Mary Jane, they shot footage with her, but then cut her out at the last minute just because they already had too many characters. So until you see Catwoman on screen in this Batman vs Superman movie, take all this news with a grain of salt. If you do want to see what Emily Blunt looks like whenever she's kicking ass, go see Edge of Tomorrow this weekend. Catwoman's a totally different character, but a lot of times it helps whenever you see actors doing other big action movies. So I know a lot of you are asking, how the hell is this Batman vs Superman movie going to work when they're cramming all these characters into the same movie, all these really big characters? Well, it's likely that they're just going to give really small parts to those secondary characters and then give them larger parts when we get to Justice League and the future sequels. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of big characters, but most of them you're not going to see that often, at least in this first Batman vs Superman movie. Personally, I'm a fan of Emily Blunt, so I'm bummed that she didn't get to be Black Widow or Christopher Nolan's Catwoman, but I also like Anne Hathaway and Scarlett Johansson too, so I wouldn't change anything if given the chance. We have to remember though, if Blunt ends up becoming part of this Justice League franchise, she's probably not going to get to be Miss Marvel. So let me know which you prefer. Would you rather see Emily Blunt as Miss Marvel in the Marvel universe, or would you rather see her in the Justice League franchise? Based on a lot of the comments, it seems like you guys are more excited about a Miss Marvel movie, but now it's time to talk about Lex Luthor. One of the biggest character changes happening in this Batman vs Superman movie is Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Whenever they announced him for the role, I feel like everyone's brains just immediately went to Social Network with capes. Some recent production news kind of confirms that LexCorp's going to look a lot like Google or Facebook, like a really modern, hipstery office with super smart, intimidating people with really bad social skills. They are supposed to be shooting a bunch of LexCorp scenes on June 11th and 12th, so hopefully we'll see some pictures from the set to confirm. I think the biggest secret right now is whether or not Lex Luthor is going to be bald. I'm not expecting him to be just because I think it would look bad. Like if you've seen any of the Photoshop edits of Jesse Eisenberg bald, he does not look better. So now we need to ask this question, is this Superman sequel really a Superman sequel or is it something else? Personally, I think that Batman vs Superman stopped being a Man of Steel sequel a long time ago. The minute Warner Brothers decided to recast Batman and put him in the film, it became a Justice League World's Finest movie. They're not saying that officially, but whenever you put all of the biggest Justice League characters in the same movie, it becomes a Justice League movie, whether you call it that or not. The movie is intended to lead directly into the Justice League team-up movie. The title is even Dawn of Justice, so think of it as like a prequel. The only big things left to reveal are which supervillain they're going to use in addition to Lex Luthor, and when all of the Justice League members are going to interact on screen at the same time. I know a lot of you are asking about Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin participating in all this new franchise business, and I don't think they're going to be in Batman vs Superman at all, but there is always the potential for them to get really small cameos in the Justice League movie. I do think they're fine just being on TV, though. I don't think adding more characters to all these new movies is going to make them better. But Stephen Amell did tease a potential Arrow movie once that series is over. I think there's going to be at least like 5 or 6 seasons of Arrow, so that's a long way off. But if you see the energy and enthusiasm he has for the role, I definitely think he can last that long. That does become a problem for some actors on shows that run past like 8 or 9 seasons. They just get really burnt out. That's one of the best things about some of these DC Comics TV shows. The actors are so much more engaged with us, the audience, than movie stars, say like Henry Cavill or Ben Affleck. A lot of that's just because of the secrecy that surrounds movies, but I really consider TV to be the god of social media. I am really excited to see like a TV version of Justice League happen this fall between Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell. I think all you guys will be really happy with the way those shows work together. Unlike Batman and Superman, I consider the Flash to be an official member of Team Arrow, so it's much more of a partnership from the start. Batman, from what I hear, is going to be very mistrustful of Superman for most of that new movie. Zack Snyder pretty much killed the idea of kryptonite in the first Man of Steel movie, so I'm really curious to see how Batman deals with Superman the first time they meet. They're not going to be best buds, and in the comics, Batman's kryptonite ring had always been his insurance policy against the Superman freakout. But let me know in the comments, how do you think that Batman's going to deal with Superman? Personally, I think the only weakness that we saw in that first movie is Kryptonian atmosphere. That's the only way to get rid of his powers, unless Batman got his hands on some Kryptonian tech before most of it got blown up or sucked into the Phantom Zone. So, just to give you guys a quick update on the videos that are coming in the next couple of days, I'm working on a new Doctor Who Series 8 video. Be sure to subscribe to get that. That's going to post tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have another Walking Dead bonus video to post after that. Later tonight, I'll be posting my Fault in Our Stars review. Be careful if you go to that because you will cry a lot. But right now, click here to learn more about Emily Blunt being a badass in Edge of Tomorrow, and click here to learn more about the new Justice League movie. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. High fives.